Welcome, welcome. Um, I honestly, whenever I'm on stage, I come from a theater and like MC background, so I always like to start with a little noise. So make some noise if you're happy to be on the Cape. I just want to open it up and say thank you all so much for being here. I know that the Cape is not the easiest place to get to, but is a very special place, as you can see. And I couldn't be more happy to be presenting this year's World Tourism Forum in collaboration with Care for the Cape and Islands. And I want to give a special thank you to Jill Talladay, Care's founder. She's been instrumental in making this happen and bringing together so many great stakeholders from the Cape. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Wes Espinosa. I'm the executive director of the Center for Responsible Travel, and this is our 8th annual and final World Tourism Forum. We're not going to focus on the final this week. We're going to focus on what's ahead, and that's because our theme this year is sustainable transformation. And that doesn't make any sense to me at all. If you've heard me give my pitch, the UN said the theme for World Tourism Day this year is sustainable transformation, and I think that that's just jargon. And so the way that we're breaking it down this year is how can we transform travel policies and practices to sustain the destinations that we love. We'll do that with a little bit more of a Cape focus over the next few days. We're going to hear from some amazing leaders, both from the Cape and Islands and also from around the United States and around the world. We have folks from 7 different countries that are here at this event. Super thankful for folks that flew in hours and hours away across oceans and continents. And I just honestly a little emotional seeing everybody up here. I also want to say a special thank you to Pelham House. This would not be possible without them supporting us. This place is incredible, and we're so thankful for Pelham Hospitality and what they've done to help us make this event possible. I also want to give a huge thank you to our founder, Dr. Martha Honey, the Center for Responsible Travel. She's supposed to speak this evening. Unfortunately, she's ill and won't be able to make it. But I just want to send a special thank you to her for inspiring us all and bringing us together. CREST forums are a special place. We gather people from all different sectors of tourism, folks that aren't even working in tourism, because for us, that's the idea. In order for sustainable transformation to occur, we have to think outside the box, and we have to collaborate with people outside of our own spheres of influence. And so with that, we have rules at our World Tourism Forum, and these are rules that I set forth last year, and we're going to continue this year, and they're as follows. Number 1 is to be bold. We don't shy away from talking about difficult things at our World Tourism Forums. We have people that may disagree with each other on stage at times, and that's okay, because that's how change occurs. We're not up here trying to toot our own horn. We're up here trying to be bold, bring forth new perspectives, and learn from one another. So, number 1 is be bold. Number 2 is meet somebody new. There's so many incredible people here, folks that I don't even know, so please make sure that every hour, every chance you can, that you meet somebody new, make a great connection, professional connection, personal connection, just lots of inspiring people in this space. And then finally, the last rule is to think about our theme. And that's a little different this year. And think about the theme, sustainable transformation, and think about things through the lens of policies and practice. As you heard at registration, each of you have been assigned to a team for the duration of the forum this week. That's your team for the week. And when we meet for our workshops, I want you all in your teams to think collaboratively, and I want you all to please think outside the box. Speaking of box, we have boxes on the table. These boxes are idea boxes. If you have a slip of paper, if you think of something that inspires you during a session, something that makes you think, an idea that you have of how to address a challenge that's brought up, something that you wish could occur in the tourism space, put it in the box. Our goal this week is to work towards Thursday, where we'll have a sustainable transformation charter, is what we're calling it, which is a blueprint for how to think about this really big theme. So thank you all so much for being here. Just a couple of quick housekeeping things. All meals, breakfast and lunch, will be upstairs. We aren't serving dinner, but we do have a cocktail hour today that's covered by CREST, so please stick around for the cocktail hour later this evening. We'll have hors d'oeuvres, and there's also some amazing restaurants if you or we all decide to go to dinner after the fact. Tomorrow is all the meals upstairs. In the evening tomorrow, there is a reception at the Witta Pirate Museum. It's an incredible experience. I've sent out a bunch of emails about this. If you haven't signed up, go into the Sched app and please sign up for the Witta Pirate Museum experience so that we can get a head count. And finally, on Thursday, we have our Experience Day sessions. We have 3 awesome experiences planned. Again, go into the Sched app and sign up, or if you talk to Adam and Haley up at the front, they can also get you set up and make sure that you're set for those sessions. So, with that said, welcome everybody, and it's my honor to bring up the founder of Care for the Cape and Islands, Jill Talladay.
Thank you. Whew. I just want to take this in. As Wes said, I mean, this has been a long time coming, and first of all, I want to share, CARE would not exist without CREST. It was through time spent when I was in grad school working with Martha Honey and learning about responsible travel that this whole idea came about. And CREST and Martha and Samantha and Wes have been so supportive for many years, and so so grateful. And it was always a dream to be able to welcome everyone here to Cape Cod, to my special home, and so I'm really thrilled that you're all here, and that we're going to learn from each other. It's such a friendly space to be here with all these like-minded people, and hopefully by the end of this 3 days, we're going to walk out with some things that we can use to help preserve our special destinations, our special homes and places that we love. So to give a real welcome to Cape Cod, it's my pleasure to invite Paul Niedzwiecki, who is the CEO of the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Wes, for bringing you all to us today. So good morning from Cape Cod. I am Paul Niedzwiecki. I'm the president and CEO of the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce. We're also the Regional Tourism Council for Cape Cod. We also have a lot of different hats that we wear at the Chamber. We're the Regional Economic Development Organization. We've got 1,500 members Cape-wide, making us the second largest chamber in the state in terms of numbers. We also have a big public policy pillar. You know, we're organized under 4 pillars at the Chamber, so it's membership, it's the DMO, RTC aspect of what we do, it's economic development, and then it's public policy. So we do a lot of different things. We have affiliated organizations, 501c3s, that roll up to us. One of them is the Blue Economy Foundation, and then recently we added the Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative to the portfolio of the Chamber, and so we are motoring along with a lot of important challenges that we have when you're talking about tourism and bringing people to a very fragile peninsula like Cape Cod. You know, we have a year-round population of about 230,000 folks. That triples. You know, on any given day in July, you could have 1 million people on the Cape. And so you can imagine on a fragile peninsula like this with a sole source aquifer and over 500 miles of coastline, what that could mean. You know, 86% of the land on the Cape is either developed or protected. And so as a community, we've been pretty aware of how special this place is. We have a regional planning agency, the Cape Cod Commission, that was put in place in 1990. That's there to help with this balance. And so I was with the commission for a while, and I think one of the things that we recognized there that on Cape Cod, the environment is the economy. Right? So we need to work together to make sure that we're taking care of this place because it is so special. And just as an example of what we do during the summer, in 2024, Cape Cod saw $2.8 billion in visitor spend. You know, the travel and tourism industry on the Cape was supports directly over 14,000 jobs. and generates occupancy tax revenue for the state at a level of 170 million, which is more than we get back from the state, so we're a profit center for them. And more importantly, in some ways, given the challenges that we face, we generated through the occupancy tax an additional $90 million for all of the 15 towns who are now engaged in different efforts related to infrastructure primarily that will help us keep the special place special. The primary challenge we've been facing for at least 20 years now is wastewater. So over the last 20 years, there's been an effort to sort of get a regional plan together and get the towns acting on wastewater. And I'm very happy to report that almost all the towns are working on that issue now and working aggressively on it. So that issue will help us with the nitrogen problem that we had. Nitrogen pollution really presented a danger to our estuaries and embayments. And on the Cape, only about 4% of the properties were sewered. So most of that nitrogen is coming from septic systems, Title V systems, and leaching into estuaries and embayments. And that was a real existential threat for us. I mean, if we lose the environment, we lose our economy at the same time. But we've made progress on that. That's moving forward. The next challenge from an existential perspective are replacing the two bridges that connect us to the rest of the world. Those bridges are almost 100 years old now. They're two federal assets. They are functionally obsolete, and an inspection on any given day could turn up something that might require a closure of one bridge, and that really can't happen on the Cape. If one of those bridges were closed for any period of time, we would lose about a third of our economy. And if one of them had to be rehabilitated and closed, we would definitely lose a third of our economy. We'd be looking at a bridge that was shut down for at least 6 months. And so it just can't happen. So the replacement process is going forward. They're going to build the new bridges inboard next to the existing bridges, and the plan looks good. And we could start construction on the Sagamore Bridge as soon as late 2027, 2028. So I think that's an example of where the Chamber, as a regional tourism council, is promoting people to come here and vacation in a responsible way. And the challenges of going from a community of 230,000 to a community of 1 million on any given day during peak season, that's really what we want to keep an eye on. So whether it's wastewater, whether it's transportation infrastructure, we want to make sure that we're building the infrastructure but not doing it in a way that causes any harm to the environment. In fact, we see infrastructure as a way to sort of save some of those environmental issues and help us face some of these environmental challenges. So we've been working really hard on those issues, and we'll continue to do so. But the Cape is a world-class destination. It's also, in characterizing the economy, it's really a second homeowner economy. 37% of the housing stock on the Cape are second homes. So we have currently over 20,000 registered short-term rentals on Cape Cod. That's about 12% of the entire stock. But that number's been rising. So that number represents 42% of the short-term rentals in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts on the Cape. So we are starting to see some challenges and some friction between short-term rentals and traditional hotels. So we are losing some hotel rooms to short-term rentals, but those short-term rentals are really homes that are spread out in the community. And so if we look at the environmental impact, it's really short-term rentals that are having a greater environmental impact than the traditional lodging organizations. So we're working hard to help balance that and work with the hospitality industry. We just had a lodging roundtable last week where we discussed some of these topics and how to move forward. So challenges abound. You know, there is the general sort of economic uncertainty nationally that's impacting visitation. There are some of the environmental constraints that we're dealing with on the Cape that provide some really expensive challenges that we have to answer. But the one thing, advantage I think we have as a region, you know, and this happens when you're a fragile little peninsula that sticks out into the Atlantic with 15 communities that are inextricably tied to one another. You know, around the globe, you can say, do you know where Cape Cod is? And most people will say, yeah, there it is. They can point on it on a map. They can't tell you whether it's in Massachusetts or Rhode Island, but they know where the Cape is. And they look at Cape Cod as one place. But when you cross the bridge, especially for year-round, as you said, these are really 15 distinct communities that make up and create the character of this place. And so, but they will come together, as balkanized as they can be, to meet regional challenges, whether it's threats to drinking water at the Joint Base Cape Cod, or whether it's nitrogen pollution from septic systems across the Cape, whether it's the protection of open space. This is a region that's come together to face regional challenges and often do it in a unique way, and in a way that they become a national leader. And so we intend to do that moving forward. And with that, I'm going to close it out, and I'm going to introduce Wes again.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's now my pleasure to introduce somebody who was called by many that I spoke with Mr. Dennis. And we are right now in Dennisport, Massachusetts. And so it's my honor to introduce the Town of Dennis Select Board member, one of them at least, and that is Mr. Chris Lambton. Chris, come on up here. Excited to hear a little bit about the place we are, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. Good morning, welcome to Cape Cod, and more importantly, welcome to Dennis, my hometown. It's an honor to host the World Tourism Forum here. And I want to thank the Care for the Cape and Islands for not only bringing this event to the Cape, but for creating it with the Cape. There's no better setting to talk about sustainable year-round tourism than right here at the Pelham House and their sister location, Love Farm. Two places that show what happens when hospitality, community, and the environment work in balance. Cape Cod has always been a place defined by balance between land and sea, between seasons, and between the people who visit and the people like me who call it home. Tourism is our lifeblood, but it's also our shared responsibility. Every summer, our beaches, trails, and harbors remind us how connected we are to one another and to the natural beauty that sustains us. I learned that connection early, like a lot of Cape kids. My first job was on the beaches and in the restaurants. Raking seaweed right over here on C Street Beach. If I got in trouble, my boss would drop me off there in the morning with a bucket and say, start raking. Hauling trash off those same beaches, scooping ice cream, and shucking oysters. It's not glamorous work, but it was honest work. And it teaches you caring for this place is part of the job when you live here. If you haven't been yet, our beaches are just as special as you've heard. On the bay side, there's Chapin, Corporation, and Crows, where the tides go out forever and the sunsets last even longer. On the ocean side, C Street and West Dennis, they offer long walks, salt air, and a reminder of why people fall in love with Cape Cod. And yes, this is insider information from someone who was born and raised here, so you have those little pieces of paper, you should be writing this stuff down. And for my dentist table in the back, don't worry, I'm not giving them all the secrets, just some of them. We also have some incredible places to eat, drink, and gather. Places that make the most of what comes from the waters and our farms. Close by, we have the Oyster Company. Obviously, the Pelham House is one of my favorites. And the acclaimed Loon restaurant right here. On the other side of town, we have the Pheasant, Encore, and the Mercantile. You can't go wrong with any of the restaurants in our town. I'm pretty partial to the ones who serve great oysters as an oyster farmer myself, and good coffee. Sustainable tourism isn't just a slogan on Cape Cod, it's a daily practice. It's what happens when visitors, businesses, and residents all care for this place so it thrives year-round, not just in July. So throughout this World Tourism Forum, let's keep finding that balance, honoring our past, and shaping a resilient future for everyone who loves the coast. I'm committed to that effort. I hope you will be too. Thank you. Welcome to Dennis. I know you're going to enjoy your time here, so thank you again for being here.